Good afternoon, Decluttering Club. I'm here today to talk to you about what little things are you tolerating in your life. And they might not be little things, they might be big things, but it's really easy to blow off the little things and say, oh, it doesn't matter, right? It's not really that big a deal. It's not really that important. I'm here to tell you today that it is important and it does matter. And it is maybe affecting you in ways that you had not anticipated, that you were not aware of. And so that is what we're going to talk about today. What little things, or maybe the big ones, what things are you tolerating in your life, and what is that doing to you? I'm so excited about this topic, you guys, because I have recently noticed a few things that I was tolerating in my life. I'm just got all kinds of windows popping up here. I noticed all kinds of things I was tolerating. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, so I want to tell you a story. And before I do that, I want to say hello. How are you all? We have a bunch of you on. Fantastic. Lynn is here. Hey, Lynn, how are you? Good to see you. Hopefully my sound is good and the video is going to cooperate. Fingers crossed, right? Okay, so I want to tell you a little story. You may have heard me tell this story before. I have a beautiful house. I have an amazing house. I love my house. I am so blessed to have this house. And a couple of years ago, we had a leak upstairs, right? It was like, I think it was a sink. There was a pipe that leaked in the sink. And so it caused us to need to have a plumber come and he cut a hole. Actually, no, he cut a hole in the wall, but we fixed that. But it caused a water stain, a pretty big one, on the ceiling in the family room. Okay, big water stain. And he had to cut a hole. So there's a hole in the family room ceiling right above the TV. And this wasn't like, this big. This was it was like 4 foot square. It was like this, maybe it wasn't quite that big, but it was this gaping hole in the ceiling of the family room. Right? And, we like to keep our house looking nice. We like to clean up around here, of course, that makes sense. But this hole was there, and the plumber was not able, I don't do drywall, right? I only fix plumbing. So he's like, you have to find someone else to fix the hole in your ceiling. And so me being kind of busy and, oh, it's not important right now, I kind of let it go, right? And so we lived with this hole in the ceiling for months. It was there for months. And we, over time, we, initially it was like, wow, why is there a hole in the ceiling? But over time we stopped thinking about it and we stopped noticing it, right? And we just kind of went about our business. There's a hole in the ceiling. And if someone came over, they'd be like, oh, wow, what's going on? And we'd be like, oh, that's just the hole in the ceiling. We have to get that fixed. But we didn't. I didn't, right? I'm the only adult around here. Didn't get the hole fixed. And then one day I looked up and I was like, what am I thinking? What is going on? There's a hole in the ceiling and it's been there, and I need to get this fixed. And so, I had been telling myself things like, it's too hard to find the right person, right? Like, I don't know who can fix this. I don't have a carpenter. I don't have a painter. And, when you fix a hole in the ceiling, when you paint, you got to paint the whole ceiling. And there's like all this drama was going on, right? I don't know how to do it. I really don't want to spend the money on it. It's not, it's like all of these things were going in my head. It's ridiculous. And so one day I was like, oh no, like this has got to end. We need to fix this. This is ridiculous. This isn't even that big a deal to fix, right? There are people who are exceptionally good at fixing holes in ceilings and painting them. Like it's not me, right? I knew that much. But this can't be that hard to find someone to do this. And so once I decided that, I got someone, I can't remember how it worked out, but we found someone, he fixed the ceiling, got painted, and now there's no more hole in the ceiling. But it's cracking me up because I tolerated that hole in the ceiling for so long, and over time you stop noticing and you're like, that's just how we live. We just live with that hole in the ceiling. But here's the thing about stuff like this that you are tolerating. And again, it could be little things or it could be big things. You do see them. They do have an effect even if you're not thinking about them actively, right? It is having an impact on you on a regular basis. So for me, I probably started thinking, oh, my house is, it kind of needs some work, and why, I got a hole in the ceiling. Why should I bother to, to vacuum? Or why should we bother to go the extra mile in doing our kitchen zero? Because look, there's a hole in the ceiling. So it has this ripple effect, right? And also, you start getting irritated about things that, maybe unrelated. And you're like, whoa, where did that come from? That's interesting. You kind of blow up on someone on an unrelated topic and they're like, whoa, you're having a bad day. And it's probably because you're trying not to think about the hole in the ceiling. So it's you can pretend that it doesn't matter. You can pretend that you don't care. But the truth is that you do care, and then it does matter. And so for you to try to suppress those feelings, it's going to kind of explode in some other place, right? It's going to come out in some other place. Maybe you find yourself like looking in the cupboards and looking, where are the cookies? Where are the cookies? I need to eat something because I'm so annoyed and I'm so stressed out by this hole in the ceiling that I need to eat something, or I need to go shopping. Right? I'll feel better. I have to get rid of these feelings. So I'm going to go and try and get rid of them by doing something else instead of dealing with the problem, that's actually causing the feelings, right? So this is what we're talking about today. This is what I want to dig into with you is what are you tolerating in your life and what is that doing, right? What effect is it having on you? Now, I would love to hear from you all, what little things, right? So it doesn't have to be big things. It could be little things that you're tolerating, that you're telling yourself, it doesn't matter, right? It could be the pile of laundry. You're like, oh, we'll get to it later, right? And you don't, right? And you step over that pile of laundry every day for weeks at a time. Or maybe it's that thing that you keep meaning to fix, right? Oh, we have another thing that I'm going to deal with now, and it is that we have a cord that's running from our internet router over to the TV, right? And it's going on about 15 feet, right? So there's this cord. It's not in the middle of the room. It's kind of along the edge, but it looks terrible, and it's totally out of place in my living room, right? So I'm gonna hire someone, and they're gonna put this cord behind the wall. So I don't have to step on the cord and look at the cord and and trip on the cord. Let's not have things in the middle of the room, right? So what kinds of things do you notice that you are tolerating in your life? Let me know in the comments. It might be somebody in your life who really bugs you and they keep saying things and you're like, no, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna swallow it. It's easier not to do something about it. Or it's easier to just go along with what they want, right? And meanwhile, you're getting eaten up inside because you're not addressing the problem, right? And so you're like, oh, I don't want to say something. I should just get over it. Maybe you should say something, or maybe you should figure out, why is this bothering me so much? Maybe you should take some action there. I'm curious, what kinds of things are you all noticing that you tolerate in your lives? It could be people, again, it could be people in your life. It could be it could be a hole in the ceiling. It could be some little project that you've been avoiding, right? Because you're telling yourself it's too hard, or it's not important, or I don't know how to finish it, right? That could be kind of thing. Or it could be something big, like you really need to deal with, and you're ignoring it and avoiding it, but it doesn't go away, right? And it just causes you to look for distraction in other areas, right? That's how that works. I'm gonna catch up with your comments in here and see what you have to say. Working at cross purposes, yeah, okay. Anne says, I have several piles of laundry. Yep, yeah, laundry will do it, for sure. Lori says, I have lots of little things like this. The pandemic didn't help. Yeah, but see, these things were here before the pandemic, right? The pandemic just probably made them a little bit more clear, right, for all of us. But for sure, right, absolutely. Julie says, I'm working but won't chat much. Okay, great topic. All right, yeah, Karen says, I have to tolerate people who aren't nice. I try to stand up for myself, but yeah, so you don't have to, right? And we don't we don't necessarily have to like be mean back to those people, right? Let's say someone is being, saying things to you that you don't want to hear. You don't necessarily need to get into a fight with them, but you could just say, I'm not going to listen to this anymore. This is not going to be part of my life anymore. I'm going to say, you know what? Like, you have your opinion, and I'm just not interested in hearing this, right? You don't have to, it doesn't have to be a big battle, but you can decide this is not going to be part of what I'm going to experience, what I'm going to allow into my life anymore. Okay, Lori says, getting rid of my console piano is something I think about all the time. Yes, that's a great example, right? Like, you think, okay, I'm not going to worry about this right now, but it keeps coming up and it keeps coming up, and your brain is like, we really should figure this out. We should figure this out. You really want to deal with this. And if you keep ignoring it and trying to push it away, it's going to come out. That stress or that tension is going to pop out somewhere else. And you might not even realize that it's related until you kind of dig in and figure it out. But that's a perfect example. Okay, Glenda says, my son has been renovating my master bedroom, bath, and laundry for over a year. Everyone comes before mom. Yeah, right? And that's a good example, Glenda. You could be like, you know what? We're getting this done. So is it going to be you or someone else? Because guess what? Now is the time. I'm done tolerating this, and so you're going to make it happen. I love it. Okay, Julianne says, I've been tolerating and avoiding doing the tax documentation for previous years. That's a good one. That's a good one, right? We can ignore it, but we know it is still in the back of our heads. Perfect. Love it. Okay, Jean says, I have a box of Christmas tree decorations I still haven't returned to the basement. I love that one, right? Sometimes we tell ourselves, oh, it's too much work, or I'll do it later, or I just don't feel like it. I don't feel like it right now, right? When sometimes it's really simple to deal with it. Sometimes it's like a 5-minute task. And then you think, why did I wait so long? I've been stepping over this box over and over and over again. And it's really not that big a deal. Right? But we're just trying to avoid it. We're like, no, it's not the right time. Or here's another good one. I want to do it when I'm ready, when I'm going to do all of those tasks, right? So it's not a good idea to just do one of them, because that's not a good use of my time. I want to be efficient, right? That's a big lie we tell ourselves. I want to be efficient, and then that means we do nothing. Not so good. Not so good. Oh, Barb says the dog needed grooming, so I took her in. She's smelling so much better now. Love it. Love it. Yeah, that's fantastic. We just want to get those things done. And when we do, this is the fun part about how this works. So when you do take action, right, and it might be hard, or maybe it's not. If it's just putting away laundry, it's probably not a huge deal. Or maybe it is. If something bigger, maybe you do need to have a conversation with someone uncomfortable. Maybe you need to go and find a carpenter, and you're like, I don't know how to pick a carpenter. You have to do something you haven't done before. So it is challenging. But once you address those things that you have been tolerating, guess what happens? This is the cool thing. When you address these things, right, they have been sucking up all your energy. You've been spending all your time trying not to think about the laundry, trying to tell yourself, oh yeah, I've got to get the dog taken care of, got to deal with the piano, got to do the taxes, right? You've been spending all that energy trying really hard not to think about those things, or, kind of sitting in indecision, right? So once you don't have to think about those things anymore, once you have put them to bed, you have all this energy available to you. And you are going to feel like you are unstoppable, right? Because you've removed all the roadblocks and you've freed up this energy. And this was taking tremendous energy from you that you didn't even realize. And so that weight gets lifted, right? People talk a lot about, oh, I feel like a weight has been lifted, right? If you get your taxes done, oh my gosh, you're going to feel like a new person. So now all this energy has been freed up, and you may have been asking yourself, why is it so hard to get anything done? Why am I so bogged down? Well, that's why. Because you've been using all your energy very actively trying to ignore all kinds of things that you're tolerating in your life. And if you don't have to tolerate them anymore, then guess what happens? That energy becomes available to you. And now all of a sudden you feel new and alive. And you think, oh wow, now I can do this and this and this and this, and it just frees up all of that pent up energy, and then you'll be unstoppable. Now I don't want you to hurt yourself, okay? I don't want you to go and like, let's say you've got all those 6 or 7 baskets of laundry. I don't want you to do a laundry marathon and then have to sit on the couch for 2 days because you actually literally overdid it and you hurt yourself. Don't do that. But realize that you are spending a lot of energy, maybe all of your free energy, tolerating, avoiding, ignoring, all of those things that are bugging you in your life. So stop letting them bug you and either deal with them, right? Actually address them. Or maybe you truly do decide, this isn't important to me. I'm willing to let this go, right? But then stop going back and forth, right? If you decide to keep the piano, and stop, allowing yourself to consider, maybe I should get rid of the piano, right? Say, no, we're not talking about that anymore. We've decided we're going to keep it. We've decided we're going to keep the hole in the ceiling, right? I'm not going to worry about it anymore. Choose it on purpose, and probably don't leave holes in ceilings, but you know what I mean, right? Don't allow yourself to tell yourself a lie. It doesn't matter, right? Deal with it, right? And sometimes the little things are just as important as the big things, like if there's like that piece of paper in the corner that you really keep, you walk by it and you go, I should pick that up and throw that away. It's just like a little scrap of paper, but you're in a hurry and your hands are full, and so you just go on to the next room, and then you see that day after day and you're like, oh yeah, I really should pick up that piece of paper. Those are the little things that you're tolerating too. And when you deal with them, again, it just levels up your whole opinion of yourself, right? You are the kind of person who doesn't just leave that piece of paper in the corner. You are the kind of person who gets through that laundry. You're the kind of person who finds a contractor to fix the bathroom or the renovation, and then, wow, now you feel differently about yourself. And then you can do the next thing that you want to do in your life, and the next thing, right? So it really allows us to level up in a really exciting way. So if you've been telling yourself, I'm too tired, I don't know how to do this, why am I so, bogged down? Maybe you need to look at, what are you tolerating in your life? Now this could be painful, could be hard. You might not like what you see, but at least now you can tell yourself the truth, and then you can make a decision from a place of power, as opposed to just ignoring, avoiding, and trying to pretend it's not happening, because that doesn't work, right? So we want to make our decisions on purpose. You all know this, right? I want you to have your power. I want you to make all your decisions on purpose, and then act from that place. And maybe it means you say, I'm not going to deal with this. I'm deciding on purpose not to, or I am, but at least you're deciding on purpose and you're acknowledging your feelings, right? It's ridiculous to, like, sometimes I think we tell ourselves, oh, I shouldn't feel that way. I shouldn't feel that way. I shouldn't feel like upset about this thing. I shouldn't feel mad about this thing. Guess what? You're mad. You're upset. Like, let's tell the truth. And then let's decide, do we want to feel mad about this or upset? And then do we want to do something about it? We never want to deny our feelings. Maybe we want to actually take a look at what's actually going on, and maybe then we change our mind about how we want to feel. But just pretending that we don't feel that way, or trying to ignore it, to stuff it down, does not work, right? It's like the beach ball analogy. Those of you who are in the membership, you've heard me talk about the beach ball, right? It's like our feelings. They are like a beach ball. So if you're in a pool, right, and there's a beach ball floating around on the water, right? This is our feelings, right? And your beach ball is floating around, and if you let it be there, if you're just like, oh yeah, I'm sad today. Okay, there's the beach ball, it's floating, right? I should get a ball, that would be fun, right? However, if you try to pretend that you are not sad, you try to stuff your feelings away, right? That's like taking the beach ball and pushing it underwater, right? You can push the ball down underwater and it will stay there for a little while. Those feelings will stay out of the way where, we don't like them. We don't want to deal with them. They can stay out of the way. But you can only hold a beach ball underwater for so long before it pops back out, and splashes in your face. And that's what happens when we try to suppress our feelings. They come right back at us, and they may come out in a different area, right? If you're sad, it may come out in shopping. It may come out in yelling at people you love, or yelling at strangers, or being mad at the people in traffic. And you'd be like, wow, what's going on? That was the beach ball coming out and blowing up in your face. So don't try to avoid your feelings, right? Don't try to pretend they are not happening, because guess what? They are, whether we're acknowledging them or not. And just ask yourself, what are you tolerating in your life, and do you like the consequences that it is creating for you? All right, let's see what else. Do y'all have any questions? Karen says, I live with these people, but no, I don't have to argue. Right. Well, you could just stop listening to them, right? You could, or you could just answer them back with how you feel. Let's see. I feel irritated all the time from being overwhelmed in every direction. Yes, right? So, let's deal with it. Let's knock those things out one at a time, right? And overwhelm, overwhelm is, we want to take things one step at a time, right? We can't do all the things at a time. We got to take things one at a time. Okay, I'm realizing I'm tolerating way too much, says Dottie. Julianne says, I wonder if I could break up the tax documentation into 10 or 20-minute chunks. Love it. Sounds good. Absolutely. Okay, Karen's working on my office. Always overwhelming as have not got a system in place. Yes, we waste time and energy thinking instead of doing. Yes, that's so good. That's such a good point. All right, so that is what I have for you today. Just think about it, right? You don't have to do anything yet, but just notice, what are you tolerating? And then decide if you want to address things. And address them one at a time, right? We don't want to tackle 20 things at a time, one at a time, and see what happens. And see if you do feel freed up. See if you do release some of that energy that you were so desperately looking for, right? Because it has a real effect. Okay, that's what I have for you today, my friends. Thank you so much for being here. Such a good thing. If you like this, if this was helpful, share this out, tag a friend, let us know about it, and I will see you here next week. Same place, same time. Take care, everyone.